Hello and welcome back everyone to another video. Today I'm doing another video on freelancing. Excuse me? I'm trying to film a video! Just started filming and already... Okay, let's go. Time to go out. Sorry about that. In this video, I want to discuss how to become a freelancer. If you haven't seen, I have released 2 videos, I think, sort of on like the freelancer topic. So be sure to check those out. I'll leave them in the description box below if you want to look at them. Totally irrelevant to this topic, just a quick message. I've started streaming again. I'm going to be doing it on Twitch. My Twitch name is here and I'll put the link to it in the description box below. It's @atomic_. But I've just started streaming again. If anyone is interested in watching me, go give me a follow. Just keep an eye out on my Instagram as well. Put my Instagram up here too. You guys can watch me stream if you want. Okay, let's continue the video. For this video, I want to give an easy guide on how to become a freelancer. I truly believe it's something that anyone can do because everyone's got some sort of talent or skill, or some are actually very easy to pick up. So quickly, what is a freelancer? A freelancer is a self-employed person that is hired to work for different companies and organizations, basically. They're hired to work on particular assignments. This could be anything depending on the type of freelancer that you are. Thank you, Google, for making that so easy for me. But yes, that's exactly what it is. They work for themselves rather than a company. They can take on contract work and stuff like that for companies, but ultimately they are self-employed. And to me, that's one of the greatest things ever. But there are so many trucks on this road. However, there is still a difference between a freelancer and being self-employed. The difference here is their freedom. So while self-employed individuals can run their own business and stuff like that, a freelancer is actually obligated to perform their clients' requests. They can't, like, it's not like running a business where you can be like, you do this, you do that. The client is telling you what to do, so it's a little bit different in that regard. Additionally, freelancers usually work alone. They don't usually work with other people or other freelancers. So be sure to keep those little bits of information in mind. And before we do get into this, be sure to check out my video on the pros and cons of freelancing to know whether it is right for you, because it might not be the type of job for you, depending on what type of person you are. Quick recap of my personal freelance journey, just a very quick recap, is basically last year, 2019, I started a gardening apprenticeship, which I came to not enjoy very much. I fell into a deep depression with this job because I knew it wasn't for me. But at the same time, I obviously just couldn't quit because I needed a job. So what I started doing is I started freelancing on the side first. So I did not just drop a job and start freelancing. I started on the side first, which is something I do recommend doing because it does take a while to build up and grow, depending again on what you do. But that's basically my story. Is I started on the side and from there I grew it, quit that job and took this up full time. So that's me. Whether you want to do it for a bit of money on the side as a side thing, or you want to turn it into a full-time thing, virtually anyone can become a freelancer. And let me discuss why in step 1. And before we get to step 1, please be sure to give this video a like and subscribe if you're finding it helpful and if you're enjoying it, as it really does help me out on this channel and it lets me know that you are actually liking this content. So I'm going to try and make this as quick and short and as informative as possible, so bear with me. So step 1 is to figure out what you're good at, what skills and little talents you have, your side hobbies, anything. For me, I always loved to write. I would always find myself writing little short stories. I found myself very good at English and writing and spelling and that kind of stuff. It's also something my family and friends always told me as well. You're such a good speller, you're a good writer, when I had to write maybe like an email for them. Another thing for me was I read a lot as well, which drastically improved how I write. So when I got into freelancing and started freelancing, I knew that it was going to be for writing because I couldn't draw, do art or anything like that. So I just sort of knew that that was my personal talent and that's what I chose basically. However, please let me point out that there is so many different things you can do with freelancing. It is in no way just writing. There is so many other things. Let me quickly run through a list and I'll put it up on the screen as well so you can sort of look into them. If you've got a great advertising voice, you can be a freelancer voiceover artist. If you love graphics design, drawing, painting, and all that artistic stuff that I'm horrible at, you can become a freelance artist or graphics designer. If you're great at writing resumes that land those people jobs every single time, why not turn it into a job? And why not charge for it by becoming a freelance resume writer? And yes, that is a thing. I've actually seen heaps of freelancers charge a lot for this, anywhere from like $100 upwards for like the perfect resume. Seriously. You can become a freelance virtual assistant, a freelance social media manager, a freelance photographer, a freelance editor for like photos and videos and stuff, freelance translator, freelance songwriter. There is literally so many different things you can do. It's amazing. And all of these things can be done on a freelance type of roles, meaning that you're self-employed, you can work from home. You can literally be freelance anything as long as you can work from home or can get your own equipment to do it. And most importantly, remember that there is no harm in giving it a go. You'll never know how it'll go unless you try, like I did. I literally thought, what the heck, why not? And now look at me. I get to wake up whenever the hell I want. There's a bit more to it than that, but. And speaking of that, you can actually check out my video that talks about my day as a freelancer. If you want, I'll put it up here. Where were we? Step number 2 is equipment. So now you need to get the necessary equipment for that chosen role as a freelancer that you're going to be doing. And this is obviously necessary if you don't already have the equipment. For me, I already had a laptop, a computer. I've got 2 computer screens, which makes it so much easier, by the way, for like easier navigation and time management and that sort of stuff. I also have notebooks, pens, and a whiteboard. So those are other sort of little bits of equipment that I use personally as a writer. But this equipment obviously is going to vary massively between different job types. For example, as a voiceover artist, you're going to need a high quality microphone to do that, and probably like recording software. For graphics design and artistic stuff like that, consider maybe like Inkscape, Adobe Illustrator, GIMP, Photoshop, like those kind of things. And if you're just starting out and you can't afford something expensive, like I don't know how expensive Adobe Illustrator is, but I don't think it's cheap, you could try just starting with something like Inkscape, just until you sort of build yourself a portfolio, and then you can move to investing in something more expensive and better. Get your equipment and your setup all sorted before you start. You can improve the quality of these things and also your price as you move forward and as you become better at what you do. Step number 3 is practicing and getting your name out there. There are heaps of Facebook freelancing groups and like job groups that you can join. And if you're just starting out, you can post something in there like, hey guys, I'm choosing 10 people to design a logo for free to build my portfolio, who's interested? You could do something like that. That's one way to practice, get your name out there, get a bit of credibility, build your portfolio that you can then show to other people to show your previous works and what you're capable of. And aside from that, just make sure you continue to practice that skill, talent, whatever you have. Just make sure you keep practicing if you want to turn it into a job, because you need to perfect that art in order for people to pay you for that and be happy with it. That's my advice for this step. Definitely keep that Facebook group one in mind. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups. I don't put myself in there to ask for work because I already have a lot of work, but I go in there and I sort of see heaps of people posting in there like, choosing this many people to do this for free. I'm going to give out a free this, just to sort of build their credibility. So that's a really powerful way and helpful way to do it. Step number 4 is setting your prices. This one's a tricky one, obviously, especially if you already have a lot of credibility in the field. But starting out, you're not going to be able to charge top dollar, that's for certain, until you build yourself a reputation. A good reputation, of course, not a bad reputation. I found out how to set my prices by looking at other beginners and what they set their prices as and sort of comparing. I did this by going onto online platforms, and that was sort of my indication of what I should be setting my price as just starting out compared to average or intermediate, and then like professional is like there's pretty big jumps. That really helped me figure out what to price my services as. Some guidelines for setting your price is to keep in mind is don't set an amount too little where it doesn't compensate you enough for your work, but also don't set it too high to deter people away from your service. Remember, if you're just starting out, no one knows who you are, no one knows that you're good at what you do. Even if you're a pro, you're not going to be able to charge top dollar, because how do those people know that you're going to deliver on what you're advertising? So until people know who you are and what you're capable of, don't charge really expensive amounts. If you're confident that you're really good at what you do, you will get the clients and you will grow quickly. It's just a matter of holding out for that beginning part, especially if it's starting out as a side hustle like I did. You're not too concerned about earning top dollar yet anyway. It's more just building that experience and credibility and portfolio. Step number 5 is to find work projects. When you're finding work for this, there are a lot of different ways you can go about doing it. This mainly depends on the job type, but there's still heaps of different ways you can do it. One good way to do it is to find an online platform to get work, such as Freelancer.com, Upwork, Fiverr, those are just examples. You could also send outreach emails to the email listed on websites. For example, maybe you're a logo designer and you go onto a website and you see that they've got a really poor, crappy logo design and you know you can improve it. You could use that email to get in contact with them about your services and describe what you can do to make it better, like give them some examples of your work, your prices, or like do them a special deal. As a writer, I can scan through all different sorts of websites, finding really poorly written content, and then I can email that website's email and discuss with them what areas of improvement will give them a better SEO boost, better traffic, leads, conversions, all this different stuff. So that's something I can do. That's something I do as well. Another way is you can also do what I mentioned before, is to find Facebook groups and post your services in there. Find Facebook groups that are sort of like job groups, or like that often are looking for freelancers, virtual assistants, writers, ad creation, video editors, all sorts of things. You'll find a lot of people need a lot of people for particular things. But instead of just finding those posts, you can simply just post your services, introduce yourself, post your services in there, maybe like a special deal for like the first 10 people or whatever, so they can then sort of review and look into what you're offering. However, the main way you'll probably be getting work as a freelancer in the beginning is through online platforms like Upwork and Freelancer.com. This could also be through social media channels and LinkedIn, but I think the best way in the beginning is going to be for you getting onto those online platforms, setting a good price, and delivering very high quality content and value. Personally, I've never used social media or LinkedIn to find work as a writer. Someone like a graphics artist can utilize Instagram way more effectively than me because it's more visual. Instagram can definitely be a really good way to showcase your portfolio. If people are interested in your services and they want to see your work, you could link them your Instagram profile and you could have all your works on there that they can look through and decide, okay, she has my kind of style that I want and I'll work with her, whatever. One thing I will say to be aware of when choosing work projects is be aware of choosing clients that seem ignorant, don't clearly indicate what they want, because they will mess you around big time, and seem scammy. Just be really, really careful, because I've dealt with a lot of these people and it's just not fun. It's terrible. Ideally, when you're just starting out, choose clients that will help you push you in the right direction with where you want to go with freelancing. So that's one thing also to keep in mind. And step number 6 is to hustle. Just keep working, keep pushing, keep building your credibility, and just keep hustling. If this is a side thing and there's no rush, just take it easy. The clients will slowly come. If you get work on the side, you do, cool, you get a bit of money. If you don't, you don't. You've got your day job still, it doesn't really matter. And if you still want it as a side thing, when more clients come, you can make them aware of your schedule and just let them know you do it 1 or 2 days out of the week, so they can't ask you for heaps of work. You can let them know so they sort of know what position you were in, so they can better communicate with you. If you do want to make it full time, I do personally recommend eventually setting up your own website, especially if you're struggling to find, or if you're not happy with certain online platforms like Upwork and that, if you want to move away from them. Your website can have your portfolio, prices, availability, service descriptions. You can use something like Wix or Squarespace or a website builder like that to make your website. Personally, after starting it as a side hustle, it did take me a while before it grew to be full-time, before I quit that apprenticeship that I did not like. I'm gonna say that it took me over 6 months before it grew to be full-time. So yeah, depending on your level of expertise, how well you can pitch yourself and how well you can get clients, it might take longer for you, it might take less time for you than it did for me. It really just depends. And in this current pandemic situation, a lot of people are looking for freelancers, so it's a great time to start, really. So those are the 6 I think there was the 6 steps that I have on how to become a freelancer. I just want to quickly go over some final tips for you that might help you with freelancing. Keep on track with your taxes, and I'm serious. Taxes are a huge pain in the butt, and if you get behind on managing them, it is not fun. But especially being self-employed, obviously, doing them yourself is crap. That's one big tip I have for you. My next tip is to try and have 1 to 2 days off during the week if you're doing it full time. It becomes exhausting. So especially for me, mentally, it's very exhausting because writing is just mind numbing sometimes. So it's important to take days off. I work pretty much every day of the week, although it's not full days. Sort of make sure you have that balance and make sure you're not working every hour of every single day because you will suffer. It's really bad for your health. Just make sure you balance it all out. My next tip is to find a niche if possible. So what I mean by that is if you can find certain areas within freelancing that you can niche down to, that you can niche into, I think that's the better way of saying it, will probably help boost your searchability on online platforms and online in general if you have a website. Just starting out, if you want a niche, this could definitely help you find clients. It's always best to focus on the one thing. People always say that, and it is true. Next tip is when pitching yourself, sell your strengths, anticipate any questions that might come up, provide relevant work samples that will demonstrate your knowledge of that project or work that is being requested of you. Give them relevant examples and be like, you need this done? Hey, look what I've done for this customer that needed the exact same thing. And they'll go, wow, okay, you can do it. I want you. And my last tip is if you're doing it on the side as a side hustle, do not let it get in the way of your current job. Make sure it's not breaching any contracts with your current employer. That's definitely something to be aware of. And never work on projects, these freelancing side projects, during your day job. Don't do that. Keep them separate. Make sure you're using your own equipment, not theirs. Keep it entirely separate. Avoids conflict with your employer. It sort of helps build your independence as well if you do decide to move away from your day job and turning that into full-time, your freelancing. Make sure to keep them separate. And that's it. So that's how to become a freelancer. Those are my tips. I hope they helped you because this is kind of stuff that helped me and stuff that I didn't really know just starting out. So I hope it helps you. Please be sure to comment below if you have any further questions, video ideas, anything like that. If you liked it, comment that you enjoyed it and that you want to see more content like this. I would really appreciate it because it just lets me know that you're finding it helpful. And also be sure to like and subscribe to help me out with this channel. Thank you guys for watching if you watched the whole thing, if you found it helpful, and I will see you all in my next video.